I'll read the notes first. On Monday, January 17th, several big tech companies' stock markets crashed.
Or stocks crashed.
Crashed.
Not markets crashed, but anyway.
The market crashed, and most of that was big tech companies. Most notably was Nvidia, dropping 17%, which is roughly $600 billion in market cap. The cause was new AI models developed by Chinese company DeepSeek that reportedly cost less than $6 million to train. Reportedly is a decently important word there.
Yes, it is.
Obviously, some analysts became skeptical of this number, but others said that even if it cost several times that amount, it would still be far cheaper to run than current competitors like ChatGPT from OpenAI. And that seems to probably be true.
And it's worth noting that we're talking specifically about ChatGPT, or OpenAI's most recent reasoning model.
Yes.
Right? We're not talking about any like older stuff. We're talking
about
cutting
reasoning
edge
models right now. Yeah. It's what matters now. Speaking of OpenAI, U.S. administration's new AI and crypto czar, David Sachs, stated that there's substantial evidence that what DeepSeek did here is they distilled the knowledge out of OpenAI's models, and I don't think OpenAI is very happy about this. What? Reaping what you sow? That's crazy. Dude, that's not in the quote.
Okay, sorry. Keep reading the thing, because this is so funny.
This is genuinely hilarious.
This is actually the funniest thing that will happen on the WAN show for probably the entire year, is OpenAI being like,
hey, you traded on our data.
You can't train your...
You can't do that.
You can't train your AI on our stuff.
It's the Spider-Man meme.
What are you even talking about? Buddy! Apparently that's unverified.
OpenAI is accusing DeepSeek of training DeepSeek's dataset using responses generated by OpenAI models. OpenAI is now looking into countermeasures to protect themselves to help prevent distillation and, of course, their own IP and brand. And then we get into the discussion topics. What do you think gives OpenAI the right to be upset about their quote-unquote copyrighted material if all they did was scrape the internet for possibly copyrighted material? Also, it is definitely copyrighted material.
Now, in fairness, they did license some of the material way later,
whenever they got in trouble enough to deal with it.
Yes. Have we like noticed AI scraper bots like on our forum and stuff? Like, is it a lot? Is it basically everything and everyone?
I don't know about float planes so much, but all of our other websites.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a thing. It's just, I talked to Dan Siegel about this, the guy that runs the lab's web team, and we essentially came to the conclusion of like, we can spend time and resources on stopping it, or we can spend time and resources on making the site better.
Yeah, let's do the second thing.
Well, let's make the site better.
Yeah, let's do the second thing.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing. At a certain point, like, it is what it is. It's going to be a continued arms race. So we would be signing up for like a long-term battle. And it's just like, man,
Dub
so
asks, how do you notice scraper bots? It's a good question.
That is a good question that I'm not going to be able to answer super well, but usually it's like you can tell what they're doing. They're searching every single page. They're acting in non-human ways. Sometimes they'll even basically flag themselves. That's not as common. People are posting resource usage, location. Yeah, that's all very good. There's like a ton of different ways. Cloudflare have decent scrapers built in. I think you mean like scraper defense. They do have that. But as far as my understanding goes, like if you try to block this might be false. I want to say that before I say this. As far as my understanding goes, if you try to block like Google's AI scraper bot, you'll get deranked. So do you want to not be found by anyone, including bots? It's like that. It's not really the goal either. So I don't know. But either way, it's like it hasn't even been worth the cycles to figure it out.
Have you played around with DeepSeek yet?
No, not personally, but I've seen its outputs a lot. And
it seems like there's been some pretty funny stuff going on.
I've seen some hilarious stuff. I don't know if it's been like made up. I don't know if they're
then let's not bother with it.
Altered videos, yeah. But yeah, we're looking into. I am essentially, as of now, declaring like, all right, I think it's been far enough. Nick from the lab has been messing around with local LLMs on, I think it's a Mac Mini in the lab for a long time now. But now it's getting to the point where like, okay, I think we want company-wide resources for this. So we're probably going to build something, which will be cool.
Oh,
thinking about making a video for it.
Okay, cool.
Might be cool.
Elijah has in the notes here that He's never had anyone
This is
reach
me.
out.
This is all
you.
me.
Oh, this is you. Okay, well, do your thing then.
From here to here is all me. So,
Okay.
yeah, I'll just run for it.
Yeah.
I said, while it might still not be mainstream, I had originally written like, oh, local LLM is mainstream now. Okay, maybe not. And Llama has been awesome, but nothing has brought local LLM, in my opinion, to the masses like DeepSeek. A lot of the conversation that I'm seeing around DeepSeek is people like concerned about its ties to China or whatever.
The other half of the conversation has been how incredibly lightweight it is. I mean, even the chat's blowing up about it. Someone was saying that it's been tuned down to require only like 80 gigs of shared memory or something like that.
Yeah, which is huge.
Which is, well, not huge.
No, I mean, it's a huge deal. Yeah. It's wild. It's way easier to run locally, and I think a lot of people are seeing the benefits, especially when you're looking at ChatGPT costs and going like, that's $200 a month.
And M. White says, bro, I managed to get the 8-bit quantized version to run on my 3080 Ti.
Yeah.
Like,
I have a note in here about 3000 series graphics cards being like huge for this, but we'll get to that. Yeah, anyway, sorry, I'll just keep going and then we can discuss for a little bit. But yeah, people are worried about its ties to China or whatever, but you can fairly easily just like ignore those by running it locally and even entirely offline. So you don't have to use their chatbot thing. You can run it locally. You can run it entirely offline so they aren't getting reports or data from it or anything. And I've heard from many other people that you can tune it. So people have found that it'll censor certain responses that you might expect a piece of software from China to censor, but you can just make it not.
wow.
You're running it locally. You're in control. So like, cool. Okay. I don't know that you're going to get away from all of its potential biases, to be super clear, but it's open source. Someone in Flowplane chat just pointed out, you can fork it. Like, the fact that this is open source is the craziest part. The fact that so much of this stuff, Llama, now DeepSeek, is all going open source is wild. And yeah, I don't know. Anyways, my next note is that I've never had anyone reach out asking about how to run LLMs locally or what hardware to get or anything. In the last week, I've had no less than 10.
I saw a thread on Twitter where someone put together just like a hardware list with like a couple epic CPUs. They were like, look, you don't even like need GPUs because that'll be way more expensive. So we're just going to use system memory. We're going to use CPU. Here's the motherboard you need. They put together this hardware list that was, yeah, sure, it's still thousands and thousands of dollars or whatever, but compared to what you would have needed before to do it on a GPU,
you can even do it so much cheaper than that too.
Yeah, no, but this was earlier in the week before anyone knew how much it could be optimized for smaller memory footprints. So it needed like a bunch of RAM. But anyway, the point is not any of that. The point is that this post had like tens of thousands of upvotes.
Yeah.
Like
this is happening.
Like this
There's
is
a shift.
This is such a niche topic, or it isn't.
Yeah, not really anymore. And the fact that you can plug and play with different models once you get it locally means it's not really going to go out of date. It seems like they're getting easier to run, not harder. And you're looking at a $200 a month bill and going, wow, I can really distill this out in like half a year. And then it's gravy from there is crazy.
Yeah, compared to buying a subscription to like is OpenAI just going to go out of business?
No, I don't think so. And I have a note about that later on.
Yeah, let's talk about do your stuff
Someone
first.
in Flowplane chat pointed out apparently there's 6,400 forks already on GitHub. So like, yeah, the whole like, ties to China stuff, I don't think it matters. This really, to me, feels like an economic blow. It feels like an attack against not just OpenAI, but honestly, the entire American tech sector. The fact that they made the chatbot free and they completely open sourced it so you can't even pull the China card very well. I don't see a reason to do that other than to just hyper dunk on the American tech industry. Anyways, I'm going to keep going. I've never had people ask before. I had no less than 10 in the last week. And I've had people telling me like, hey, sorry to ask, but I'm asking on behalf of like another friend that is really interested in. I'm wondering if you know. I am personally trying to pressure Wendell to make a video on this so that I can just link it to people because I want to stop writing the same thing over and over again. Then he's going to know better than me anyways. And he said something along the lines of like soon TM, I think.
That seems like the kind of thing Wendell would do.
Yeah, so hopefully he does it, but
cool.
I don't know when.
Good guy,
and I'm not saying he's going to, but yeah, what I have in here is what I will say is what's really popular right now is Mac Minis because of the shared memory.
Yeah.
So
Mac Studio as well, because that one you can configure with way more RAM.
Nice.
And
you don't need a crazy amount though.
Well, the Mac Mini with the M4 Pro, so with the M4 it tops out at 32 gigs.
That's pretty good.
With the M4 Pro it tops out at 64. But the Mac Studio is honestly not that unreasonably priced compared to the Mini once you start to upgrade it. And it maxes out at, I believe, 192 gigs.
I mean, that's sick. It's so much more than what
that's
basically
fair.
Everyone needs. I'm not, my main point here is that you can go as low as something like that. Like
wow.
I've seen a lot of people being like, oh, I'm going to get 3 4090s. And like, I'm like, bro, like, no.
Yeah. And Nvidia's little AI supercomputer for $5,000 or whatever
Digits.
is going to look completely irrelevant compared to a Mac Mini.
Yeah,
if we don't need all that RAM, if we don't need a powerful GPU.
We'll have to see how good Digits is, but yeah, for the vast majority of people that aren't running this for like a group or a team of people, you run one person, I really think like the Mac Mini keep it cheap play if you're going for one person is not bad. I would also want to point out that 3000 series GPUs are in my opinion, really cool sweet spot. And on all of this, Dan, I'm interested in your input too, maybe when I get through my notes.
Yeah, Dan, you need to sell those 3090s.
No. Oh, well, if you just want the cash, yeah. They're worth a lot right now.
Dude, 39 because of the 24 gigs of VRAM.
So yeah, my next note is
I bought them.
3000 series GPUs, especially the 3090 due to its 24 gigs of VRAM, which didn't increase with the 4090. And while it did increase with the 5090, it wasn't by a huge amount.
Yep.
And those like don't exist. So 3090s are selling now for still over $1,000. When did they first come out?
So you know what's funny? I think over 4 years ago.
And what was the MSRP?
I believe it's almost 5 years ago.
So the
MSRP was $1,200 US.
And it came out in September 24th of 2020.
Yeah.
Like, man. Holy crap. But they have 24 gigs of VRAM.
You know what's really funny is I kind of mocked Jensen's keynote when he said that buying that 4090 was a great investment. I mean,
the 3090 might have been.
no, 4090s have held their value incredibly well.
Oh, yeah.
Even though the 5090 and 5080 have been announced, released, benchmarked, everything, Plouffe was telling me that he can still get about 2,000 Canadian dollars for his 4090.
That's wild.
And this is a card that...
To be fair, the 5090s don't exist.
And so he's been gaming on it for 2 years. So if you compare that, right? Like if you could buy a car today for $10,000, drive it for 2 years, and then sell it for $9,500,
$9,500, $9,800.
then basically you were paying like $40 a month in rent or whatever to rent a car. Like it's trivial compared to how we used to think of these things. It used to be that when I bought a $500 graphics card, when the next generation came out, that thing was worth $200. Like it was functionally worthless.
My next line is don't expect OpenAI to not have an answer for this. I don't think they're just going to like roll over. I'm not personally surprised. I saw a lot of hot takes when the market crashed that like, all these dumb idiot investor people don't understand that they still use GPUs for this stuff. I actually understand the crash personally because what this signaled was that you can do it much more efficiently. And the stock price for Nvidia, as insanely inflated as it probably still is, a big part of the reason why it was so inflated was because of the incredible inefficiency of AI stuff and the incredible amount of power that people were needing to buy from Nvidia. So if it's more efficient than the hundreds of millions, billions of dollars being flooded into Nvidia to buy every single possible thing anyone could possibly scrape for them, is maybe not as much of a thing as it was in the past. Probably still a thing.
Yeah, and the positive for Nvidia stock, spin on that is, well, by being so much more efficient, so many more people are going to run these things, and so they're going to sell even more GPUs. It remains to be seen how that plays out, but this way we're at least presenting sort of both sides of the argument here.
I have a really interesting take on this, which is probably pie in the sky and hopeful, whatever. But
is there?
If a lot of people
coming
start
down,
running,
is it falling?
It's good, yeah,
the pie.
It's the pizza on the roof from Breaking Bad. But I don't know, man. If a lot of people buy some of these to have local LLMs at home,
yeah,
more gaming PCs, maybe
more gaming PCs.
If you're looking at electronic spending for your home, and you could have a console.
Wait, why do you? Sorry, what? What do you think?
If you buy a high-end GPU,
sure,
to run an LLM at home,
so
you can
just
game on it.
So you're just going like convert the faithless, bring everyone to PC gaming because they can't run an LLM on their Xbox.
Yeah,
really.
DeepSeek destroys console peasants.
Yeah,
that's the headline.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I could talk about this stuff forever.
So he's done.
But this is earmarking like. I do want us to get some local resources. One, for people to just start playing with it, but also like I want to start running better models for like inline IDE assistance for developers, locally and potentially remote, and not paying like big fat fees to OpenAI for that.
Cool.
Would be pretty cool, especially if we can just like make a video doing it and then, that helps pay for it.